Wesley, how are we this fine West day?
I'm doing excellent today, Brian. It's actually been a very exciting day as the hundreds and thousands of things that I ordered last week are finally starting to roll in here. And we've got new toys. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, anything you can talk about? I love new toys.
Most of which I can't talk about. I did, however, get a replacement for my long since dead HP Reverb G2, which I'm pretty excited about. I haven't even cracked the box on it yet.
Nice.
But it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wes, how much do you think we and our society are victims of advertising? Do you think advertising has any effect on you? Like when you what you watch commercial and you're like, wow, this car commercial must have cost a fortune to make, and then a fortune to air, and then it's like plastered everywhere, and they spend millions of dollars on the ad campaign. Like, do you ever go, man, next time I buy a car, I'm going to think of Toyota or Hyundai or whatever, like, or is it have zero impact on you?
We're all victims to various extents, and I kind of feel like as I became an adult and became aware of how this whole brainwashing scheme worked on television, I became less susceptible to it. But over the last few years, the things that I watched, YouTube, online streaming services have become more like television was. Only now the ads are targeted at me because they know what I'm looking at. So I feel like to some extent I might be even like more influenced by it now than I was even back then. But I like to think that I'm a pretty free thinker. So I'm going to say no, but
all right.
Probably so.
I want to do a little test. This is a longer intro than normal, and if you've never seen the show before, this is just how shit goes. I'm going to read off a few slogans from advertising throughout the years, and I want to see if you know what the product is. Sound good?
Absolutely. Sounds like fun.
All right, here we go. Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Nice. The snack that smiles back.
Oh, I've heard this one. The snack. I'm familiar with the slogan. I can't place the product. I'm proud of me.
It's goldfish.
Goldfish, of course. I never got into the goldfish, but I fed them to my children, relentlessly for years, exclusively even.
That was it. That's the only thing you fed them. Is that what exclusively means?
Well, yeah. Yeah, they lived on goldfish and Capri Suns.
Nice. That sounds like a great childhood. Think outside the bun.
Think outside the bun. Subway?
So close. I think that's what I would have thought of too. It's Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah. Run for the border. That's what I think of when I think Taco Bell.
For sure. Yeah.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
So many of these have had like really successful campaigns. Okay. Hopefully this is an easy one, but I could see where it could go wrong. Bet you can't eat just one.
Oh, that's is that Pringles?
See, that's what I thought too. Pringles would be perfect. You're on the right track though. Potato chips. One more guess.
Lay's. I don't know.
Yep, it's
Ruffles? Lay's. Lay's. Okay. Well, yeah. With Pringles, it was once you pop, you can't stop.
That's right. All right. And then this one, not our demographic. Well, I mean, you and me demographic. Hopefully, some of the cats. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's
Maybelline.
Hells yeah. All right.
I used to watch a lot of soap operas when I was a younger man, Brian. So I've seen plenty of Maybelline.
I never watched soap operas as a younger man, only when I got older. And
just out of curiosity, yeah. which ones do you watch?
I only watched one because my ex was obsessed with One Life to Live, and it was
ABC.
I don't know, man. I watched it for an entire summer, and nothing happened. Like we progressed 1 hour over the course of these characters' lives over the course of 3 months, and eventually I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Ooh, Sinev in the chat says, "You are not ready." That is one of my favorite slogans of all time. Obviously, you know what that is. You are not with the lowercase e or the capital E. That was red.
You are not red E. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that one.
PlayStation 1. Good stuff.
Man, that was a long time ago, bro.
Hey,
lots of drugs since then.
Absolutely. 6 goddamn minutes into the show, Wes. We still haven't even gotten off the title screen, and I'm gonna make this even longer. We want to give everybody an update on Mowvember, thanks to our good friend Serial Killer, the Game Cat, and I just want to thank everybody for all their participation, helping to support men's health and suicide prevention. So let's check out this video and see how we did, and also a couple new winners of the last few prizes. Let's check this out.
Hey everybody, Serial Killer the Game Cat. I want to bring you a final announcement as we wrap up this year's 2022 GameCats Mowvember Foundation fundraiser. It was amazing, and without your support, we could not have done it. Together, we raised $1,507. Thank you so much for all of your help. Everybody who donated money, everybody who posted stuff online, anyone who exercised, thank you. It was a huge accomplishment, and I am forever grateful. You're going to help a lot of men and their families to live better lives, live longer, live healthier. So we appreciate it, and I appreciate it. Now, we gave away some prizes already. Some cats got games. I know Wes won the Pistol Whip hoodie, and we have some other prizes to give away. So our first prize is a $25 PlayStation gift card, courtesy of me. And the winner for that is Touch the Clouds Game Cat. Congratulations. And thanks to our friends at VR Kiwi, we have 3 replica backpacks from Cave Digger to give away. Our first one goes to Warren Black. Congratulations. The second backpack goes to J Meow. Good job. And the third and final backpack goes to Green Captain. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone who pitched in and didn't win. Your support is still amazing. And we want to make sure that you know how important you are. Next year, we're going to bring some more charitable campaigns. I know Bryan has mentioned this. So look forward in 2023. PSVR2 is coming. Some different fundraisers. If you have any ideas, hit me up on Discord. Let me know what you think, what you want to raise money for, and we'll go with it. So thank you all again so much. Have a great rest of the year, and take care. Later, cats. Meow.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. We do it live on YouTube, but for your viewing pleasure. And then our good friend J Meow uploads this on podcast services of your choice. That's right, for your oral pleasure. Shout out to the cats who tweeted at me today saying that we were their number 1 podcast that they listened to all year long, which was fucking crazy. The number of hours some people spent, number of minutes, the number of episodes that people watched and listened to. Absolutely incredible. Thank you, everybody, for your support. It's just going to be more and more amazing as we move into 2023 with PSVR2. My name is Bryan Popnician right here, PSVR without parole. And to my right, or to your right, I guess this is also my right, if you can believe it, it's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers.
What's up, Bryan? What's up, Game Cats? Bryan, I'm excited, bro. It is the 30th of Mowvember, which means December is at hand, which means 2023 is at hand. We're almost there, man.
Mere minutes away.
Minutes away. Yeah, seconds even.
Right? Dude, it's crazy. I don't know if you guys seen Miles' stream today over on Miles' channel. Obviously a good place for it. But he's got this brand new setup and everything, and people kind of gave me shit about like how crappy my camera is and how bad stuff on Without Parole looks whenever I turn on the camera. So I turned up the lights for you guys, which is kind of blinding. I apologize for the just washed out that this is what my skin looks like. It's very, very pale, but it reflects back on you. I got guilted into turning on the lights, Wes, is basically what happened. I got guilted into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to regret it by the time we hit that 1 hour mark and start into the second hour, as we typically do. And all of a sudden you start to get a headache. That's why I keep my lights low. It's because it hurts my eyes, bro.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm a vampire. I think we're all very aware of that. Miles is in the chat. Says, you look beautiful, Bryan. I mean, I don't have the fancy lights and I don't have the high def stuff going on, but probably for the best. Probably for the best. You don't need to see what this all looks like in 4K. Real quick, we got a tip from before the show even started from Dark Angel 3 with $6.50. Says, West Day has become so ingrained in my head that I actually had trouble properly spelling Wednesday last night. Thank you.
We're making our mark, Brian. We're making a difference.
Agreed. Speaking of making your mark, Wes, what's going on over there in the land of virtual strangers? If you guys don't know, make sure you click the link in the description below and subscribe to Wes and his friends who cover all sorts of PC VR, PSVR2, PSVR, Quest, all VR basically is what we're trying to say on his channel. What is going on over there, man? Talk to me.
Well, it is exciting times as we approach the end of the year. We are on a restricted schedule. Our regular twice a week, sometimes three times schedule has been interrupted as we prepare for the 2022 show, which is our celebration of the wonderful.
Let's just jump right back into it. We are live again. Talk to me. What's going on over there in Virtual Strangers? My bad.
I don't know if I should share it. I don't think the powers that be at YouTube headquarters want me to talk about the 2022 show. Anyway, as I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted, we're preparing for our end of the year blowout right now, and that interrupts our schedule. I don't have time to prepare for this. You know, last year it was 14 plus hours. It's not going to be 14 hours again this year, but it's a lot of work. So we're not doing our regularly scheduled programming. With that said, what that means is when we do go live, as we will be doing later tonight, we've got bangers. We've got bangers scheduled. We're going to do an awesome show tonight. We've got awesome stuff prepared for next Wednesday, and that will probably be our last regular show of the year. With that said, I've got extra content lined up, pre-recorded editing stuff. I hate editing, but we're going to do it. Anyway, tonight, we're going to be giving first impressions of the Oculus Quest version of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Yes, Tiffany, I know the embargo is up tomorrow. We're not doing a full review. We're allowed to give impressions.
Tiff
and that's
doesn't
what we're
care.
gonna do.
Tiff doesn't care.
I know.
Tiff is like, talk about the chainsaw. Who the fuck? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the two-handed chainsaw tonight. No, I'm just kidding. There's no such thing. We're also going to do a real-time review tonight, which is, our hybrid podcast / live stream segment. And we're going to take a look at Half-Life Alyx Levitation, which just released a couple of days ago. And so we've got a hot episode lined up tonight. Next week, we're going to be talking about Hubris. We just got those yesterday, I think. So lots of good stuff going on. To be honest, Brian, I would already be done with regular episodes if we didn't have such a hot release schedule in December. So, we got to play these games. We got to talk about them. We have no choice.
Yeah. You think this Half-Life Alyx stuff is going to be included in the definitive version for the PSVR2?
I don't know, because it's part of the Steam workshop.
Yeah.
And it's all user-created stuff. So I don't know how that would work with Sony and on their platform. We're hopeful that in the next generation, sometimes Sony starts to embrace the kind of modding type stuff that PC has going on with it. The official sanctioned stuff, like the Steam Workshop stuff. But we don't know. We have no word on that. And I'll just be happy with the base campaign, upgraded, of course, for the new hardware.
Of course. So just be happy to get a confirmation of Alyx at all on PSVR2 amid hundreds, nay, thousands of rumors. All we care about is one thing, and that is actual confirmation. Hey, Wes, I think maybe we should. Oh crap! Damn it! I got this all backwards. Professor Lilith in the chat with the $5 tip says, "Hi, GameCats." Hey, Lilith. Says the Sunday multiplayer surveys posted in Discord. Vote for Battlezone, To the Top, or Honor in Duty. Guys, if you don't know what Professor Lilith is talking about, well, here's what's going on over on our Discord. We put together a weekly, courtesy of Professor Lilith, a weekly multiplayer meetup for all the cats. And so there's a lot of games probably sitting in your backlog that you haven't gotten a chance to play. Either maybe you've played a single player and maybe you've jumped into multiplayer and found that there's no one on the servers, no one's playing, because that's kind of what happens with PSVR games. And I think a lot of VR games really just is not a huge player base. So this is your chance to get in on some of those games and finally see what it's like to play those games multiplayer with full lobbies. So every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Professor Lilith puts this together, and you get to choose the 3 games. All sound pretty good. Wes, do you have an opinion? Which one you'd vote for? Battlezone, To the Top, or Honor in Duty?
I absolutely have an opinion, Brian. I'll let my shirt speak for itself. Oh, I'm fading out.
Oh, your poor green screen.
My parents must need to kiss at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Anyway, To the Top. It's one of the best games in VR. It's still great even today, and I feel like it's a little underrated, to be honest, in 2022. To the Top's awesome, even though the multiplayer functionality is suspect. It's difficult to connect with people and get a match going. But once you get in there, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't think the chat is giving you enough credit for your Back to the Future joke. I think that was maybe the best thing I've heard all week. Man, I got to go.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to mark the punchline.
Mitch Hedberg punchline indicator. Love it. Thank you, Professor Lilith. So make sure you guys check it out. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Join the Discord. Click the link in the description. Get in on this shit. It's always a lot of fun. Another reason to join Discord is because you can leave your viewer takeover questions in the viewer takeover channel, and that way we might read some of your questions on this show. Starting with Planet, who left this comment yesterday in the viewer takeover channel and raised hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. Do you agree that they held back the launch price of Switchback VR and didn't give us a 10% launch discount only because he's calling me out, only because you hyped up the game too much, basically declaring it quintessential? I hope everyone. I know that Planet's joking. Hopefully, everyone is aware that we have zero impact on what happens over at Sony. For the most part, I don't think they know we exist, other than when we're thorn in their side and leak things like the launch window and specs and shit like that. Other than that, I don't think they really give a fuck what we're doing. This brings up an interesting question, though, Wes. The price of Switchback, sirens on my end, just got revealed on the PlayStation Store. It is indeed a launch title, as we already knew, but unlike what we already knew, it is twice as much as Rush of Blood. Rush of Blood launched at $20, and Switchback will be releasing at $40, $39.99. First thoughts on this, Wes?
Not shocked. First of all, let's talk about that Rush of Blood price. We're talking about a game that's still regarded as one of the very best in the PSVR catalog. It was in our top 10 when we did our most recent top 50 list. $20 is, I get it's kind of short if you're a wizard at it and run straight through it the first time, which I didn't do. It took some practice. $20 is kind of a really good price for that game, in my opinion. Am I wrong? Especially at launch. I mean, of course not now, but at launch, it's kind of a deal, right?
Yeah, it was an amazing deal. Actually, I kind of had a preconceived notion getting it for $20. I was like, this is gonna be a throwaway, title, just cashing in on the Until Dawn name, and I was completely wrong about that. Very happy to be wrong. I thought $20 was actually too, not that we ever want to spend more money than we have to, or tell developers raise your price. This is ridiculous. But I felt like I got a great deal. I felt like Rush of Blood could have easily been $30.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit for supermassive games on PSVR.
Yeah.
Then came the Impatient. Do you remember what the Impatient launched for?
Well, only because we just had a discussion about it on Monday's episode. I thought it launched at 30, but it launched at 40. Insanity. $40 for a 2-hour game. Yes, with replayability and 6 different endings, but come on. $40 was crazy for that.
I agree with that, and they got raked over the coals. That game got unfairly negative reviews based on everyone's outrage at the price. I feel like the game was better. I mean, it's not game of the year or anything, but it was a decent game. It was worth my time. I enjoyed playing through it once. I didn't do twice, but once was fine. But I gotta think that Supermassive Games took a lesson from that shellacking they got launching that game at $40.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I draw confidence here. I think that they're pricing this at $40. One, because these are $2022. They're not $2017 or whatever. But two, I think they're bringing it here, man. I obviously I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a 20-hour campaign or anything, but I think we'll get more than 3 hours out of it, 3.5, like we did with the Rush of Blood campaign. So yeah, I draw confidence from that price tag, and I think it's an indicator. I think this is something people should get used to because we've had it way too good for way too long in the VR space. This is a brand new platform. It's a brand new store. And I don't see developers making the same mistake twice, mistake from their point of view, in underselling their games. There's a crowd now that's here to buy VR games, and I think that they're going to more appropriately price them this time instead of giving them away like they often did in the first generation.
I agree with you that developers should absolutely get a fair price for the games that they're selling. What I disagree with is I feel like there was always somewhat of a PSVR tax. I always felt like that games, we sort of saw a change during that generation, and I don't know if this was just because of the years that were passing or it was changing gaming in general, and I just happened to be focused on PlayStation VR or what the deal was. But they're $20 games over the course of the PSVR, course of the PS4 lifespan, and by nature the PSVR lifespan alongside it, $20 games became a much different thing. Generally, $20 games in the PS3 generation were could very well be like full length games that would just happen to be made by small teams. They were very frequently bigger games, and then as we got through the PS4 generation, the $20 games seemed like they were shrinking exponentially, and we were getting much less for our dollars. There's obviously tons of exceptions to that rule, but I just felt like it always felt like there was a PSVR tax, and that we were paying a little bit more for something that would have been $30 for something that would have been $20 on a flat screen. And I guess when you're selling to a smaller audience, you got to kind of make the money where you can, right?
Right. And I think that for so many of us who are still around, we're still kind of locked in that $20 mindset. It's an interesting position that we're in psychologically now because I feel like people are willing to accept $50 and $60 games because they know that those are going to be AAA bangers. And I feel like they expect everything else to be like $25 or less. And once you get up into like $30 or $40, people are a lot less willing to accept that. I feel like the way everyone's mindset is right now, there's no room for middle ground. Either you're an indie game and you're a $25, $30 game, or you're a banger and you're $60. And I think that when a game hits 40, like Switchback, people expect it to be a $60 game, and I don't think that's very fair.
Yeah, agreed. I think that we need to explore the scale a little bit more. When AAA is now $70 on PlayStation. Yeah, I mean, $40 I think says something very specific about your game, and I think it sets expectations. I'm curious. I will say that I feel like this is being a launch title. This is going to tell us something about what we should expect for our money potentially on PSVR 2. I think that they didn't just pull this price tag out of a hat, right? This was thought out. This was carefully planned, and I hope that for our $40, we're going to get a lot more content. That we're going to get a lot more different modes to play, and who knows what else. Obviously, it's going to take advantage of the technology quite a bit more because this is, as far as we know so far, is exclusive to PlayStation VR 2. So we should be feeling those adaptive triggers and haptics in the headset and all of that. And obviously, the big selling point for me, dude, I can't wait to face enemies like the mannequins that only move when you blink. Right? I can't imagine that takes tons of extra development cost. But it being something that's unique to PlayStation VR 2 could certainly be this game that really starts selling people on the hardware if they weren't already convinced.
Yeah, and it's interesting because typically when you talk the price, and especially with VR games, people always go straight to how long is the game.
Right.
And I, I'd like to point out that it's not a one-to-one comparison to flat games. It's kind of apples and oranges. And I don't know what that means from a development standpoint. Not gonna sit here and tell you it takes more work to do a VR game versus a traditional. I don't know. I have no idea. What I do know is you get a lot more richness and depth from the experience just being in the game. It's a very different thing. And as a consumer, I feel like VR games are obviously offering us a lot more. That's why I'm a VR enthusiast. That's why you are. So to me, that's worth something, and I'm willing to pay it. Now, with regards to going forward, I'm kind of hopeful that people start to adjust their expectations a little bit and get away from this kind of how long is it mindset. It's not about how long it is, Bryan. It's about how you use it. And never mind. Wait a minute. Wait. It's about how you use it. Anyway, we need to allow developers some space here to kind of reshape the norm because, if we're probably going to be set for 2023 and 2024. Those games are already in development. What happens after that is largely dependent upon how profitable this platform has become. So we need developers. We need small developers to be able to make a living. We need large studios to be able to make a profit. And that's only going to happen if we pay a little bit more. Yeah. So I know that sucks for a lot of people. Maybe we won't get to buy every game that comes out anymore like we're used to doing. But I think it's good for the platform in the long run.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm very, very curious about Switchback. Obviously, for so many reasons. We talked a little bit about the history of Supermassive just minutes ago, and how it all kind of went down on PSVR1. From what I know, this wasn't Sony reaching out to Supermassive Games and being like, can you please make a sequel to Rush of Blood? This is Supermassive Games wanting to make a sequel to Rush of Blood, now using their own IP. This is something that they seem passionate about. And so I'm getting the feeling, unlike what happened in the PSVR 1 era, where Supermassive, they seemed horribly mismanaged, and they were just accepting all this contract work and just doing whatever it took to hit deadlines, whether that meant like sacrificing the quality of the game, as we saw in Bravo Team, or not. But obviously the developers over there were not happy. The Bravo Team was supposed to be like this amazing first-person shooter, and it ended up not being at all what the team envisioned. But because they were mismanaged, we never get to see the original vision. I think Switchback is kind of their chance to say, "Hey, we've changed, and we're passionate about VR, and we can't wait to show you like all of these new gameplay innovations and everything else." And so, I'm willing to take that risk. I mean, I'm regardless of the channel or not, right? If I was not running a VR channel, I would absolutely still buy this day one and be like, fingers fucking crossed, man. Let's see what happens. But it does feel like more of a passion project than anything we've really seen from them before. So I am very optimistic about this, price included.
As am I. Let's be honest, I would pay $60 for it. I'd probably bitch a lot more, but I'd pay it begrudgingly. So yeah, I'm going to definitely throw down the couple of 20s to get this. What do we have? Close to 80 games now confirmed coming to the platform at some point.
Yeah.
I've got to say, this is on the top 5 for me. This is on one hand, Horizon, Village, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2. What else, Bryan? There's another one, right? There's another one I'm not thinking of.
Bloody Hell Hotel.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
So we'll just say top 4. This is definitely one of my must-haves on day one, and I'll be willing to pay the $40 happily. Now, are you going to pre-order that? That's the thing. I pre-ordered the Horizon bundle. I know you held out in the hopes that we might get a review key.
I bought the Horizon bundle.
Oh, did you? Did you? Okay.
Oh, I don't have hope that we're getting anything. Like, I have zero hope, right?
I Okay, I must be confused.
Here's how little hope I have, Wes. They're saying on the PlayStation Store that the pre-orders will for the PSVR2, anything you buy PSVR2 related, will arrive anywhere from the 22nd to the 28th. So it doesn't even seem like, they're basically saying, hey, like, you'll get this launch week, and I know full well that there's no way, man, knowing my luck, that I'm going to get this on launch day. So yeah, wish me luck.
I have faith. We were in early on the first event,
Yeah.
if you will. So I think we'll have ours fairly early on. I mean, the retailers haven't even said a peep about pre-orders yet. I mean, could it possibly be that CNET.com was right and that this is going to be exclusively Sony right up into February? Could be, right?
What did CNET say?
CNET said that their expectation was, from what they understand, that these units would be coming to retailers after launch. No pre-orders for anyone else in the listed territories other than through Sony.
Interesting. Yeah. Hey, you were talking about some, this is obviously a launch title. We're talking about Switchback. We're assuming Village will be a launch title. We know that Horizon will be a launch title. It seems like the launch lineup is interesting. And if you've never owned the Quest or PC VR headset, then I think even more interesting. And if you've never owned the PSVR 1, then it's extremely interesting, right? Because then you get all these PSVR 1 remasters and everything. I just did a video. I'm trying to pimp here a little bit, Wes, about the launch lineup for PSVR 2, and should we be concerned? So make sure you go watch that. Check it out on the channel. But I just saw a comment in the chat regarding the launch lineup from Nick the Game Cat How, who writes, the lineup does seem to have a lot of shovelware.
You mean Quest ports?
That's I think we might be confusing the term shovelware with ports, and maybe ports that Nick specifically doesn't care about. Because I can't think of any shovelware that we're getting at all.
No, I don't see any. Jury's still out on that Crossfire title or whatever, because we don't know much about that or how it's going to turn out
or when it's coming out.
You want to see shovelware? Yeah, if you want to see shovelware, go to Steam VR and just click on VR and just scroll down. That you'll see plenty of shovelware. Sony's always been pretty good about curating all that crap out, and I expect this to be no different. But I get what you're saying. There's a lot of Quest ports in there. I think this is where the $20 game hunters are going to have a field day, man. This is what they're going to get. They're going to get Tentacular and Cause Money is High. And
but are they? Shit. Are they? Like, how much? Those games aren't even $20, right? Aren't they like $30?
No.
Right?
Yeah, well, 30 is the new 20, right?
I think so. I think when 70 became the new 60, 30 became the new 20, and I don't think it's fair. I think the new 20 should have been the new 20, should have been 25. Like that's
right.
But yeah,
probably right.
So
the bat? That's what I have to say to that.
What the bat? Gaming's just expensive, man, and it's getting more and more expensive. So I mean, we can complain all we want, but there's nothing we can do about it, except wait for sales, man. Like if you think that Switchback costs too much, if you think Horizon costs too much, which really none of us can say right now, right? Even the people who have played these games have only gotten to play minutes of them, so no one can say what these games are worth yet. But if you do think they're all too much money, then that's what sales are for. That's what waiting is for. If you don't mind playing the game a year after launch, or just waiting to shop sales, then everybody should be accommodated in time. And so if you don't get shit at launch, we understand that.
Here's the beautiful thing about being a console platform: you can rent the games. If you have the physical edition PlayStation 5, the big ones you can rent. Gamefly is cheap considering what you get with it, and typically they're pretty good about getting you the games a couple of days after they launch. So yeah, I mean there are ways around it. What I would suggest is kind of get used to the idea of not owning every game right away, like we've kind of gotten used to doing. Pay for the ones that you want. Pay for them and buy them on launch day. Pay for the ones that you want. Vote with your dollars. And then the other stuff that you're just kind of interested, wait for a sale on that stuff. Or like I said, rent it.
Yeah. But none of this makes any difference at all if you can't get your hands on a headset. Isn't that right, Wes? Pre-orders have been kind of crazy. and there's a whole bunch of people in all the territories that Sony Direct is taking care of that are just absolutely left out in the cold right now, having no idea what's happening. Not everybody who registered for a PSVR2 pre-order invite got their invite, and now, and so after that day came and went, we all expected Sony to email everybody who didn't get their invitation and say, "Don't worry, shit's fine. We got you covered. There'll be another event." But they didn't do that, did they, Wes?
No, but I think it's funny. It's just so indicative of the state of YouTube these days. How many people use that for clickbait, man? Everywhere I look in my feed, Sony's confirmed another event, and no one says that it's a pre-order event. They expect you all to click into it and find out,
right,
there's no event at all, is there?
I mean, not the kind of event that you and I are looking for. It does seem promising for people who haven't gotten into pre-order their PSVR2 yet.
Yeah.
The event that we're talking about is not the big game event where we're going to reveal Half-Life Alyx and Gran Turismo 7 VR and all that other shit that we're looking for. Instead, it's another pre-order event, which is it Fluffy Controller? I'm so fucking bad with my memory is awful.
Yeah, that's correct. I think that's right. It sounds right.
Thank you. Our friend Fluffy Controller, who is also on our Discord and prominent on Twitter, posted that there will be another pre-order event. This is on direct.playstation.com. So when you go over there to try to get in on the next pre-order event, it just says register. Right? As far as I know, no one has told me that they've gotten emails saying, "Here, your chance is coming up. We didn't invite you to the first pre-order event, but we are inviting you to this pre-order event." The silence from Sony right now, Wes, is absolutely deafening, and I feel bad for everyone who's just waiting to throw money at Sony. Like, what is that about, man? Like, this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation who can't even send an email out just to let people know when we can give them money. I think this is really unfair. It's a terrible way to handle this.
Do you think it's calculated? Do you think they want to keep us on the edge of our seat like they have been doing? It's not a pleasant feeling. Trust me, I was sweating bullets for 2 weeks waiting on my pre-order invite to show up. So I really do empathize with those out there. With that said, I'm hopeful that this next round is going to really grab the majority of the people who really care. I think we did see some action globally, right, with certain territories getting information from their local retailers about pre-ordering, which again is just another sign that maybe we'll start to see some movement on this. But as far as like the Sony marketing team, if they even have one, like we've been giving them a lot of benefit of the doubt this year, but they didn't even have a damn PS5 showcase this year. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, it could be ineptitude. I'm hopeful that this is just a strategy, but man, I don't know. I really don't know what to think. This is kind of mind blowing as we're moving into December and sitting a pretty long stretch of silence from these people.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Brennan in the chat says it's going to be an email the Wednesday before again. I hate to break it to you, Ryan. This is the Wednesday before. Like if this event is happening on the 6th, then this is the Wednesday before. Where's the email? Like, has everybody in the chat, check your email. Like, please, like, for the love of God, if you get the email now during this show, let us know in the chat. If you get it later in the week, this weekend, let me know, man. Contact me, like DM me. I don't care. Like I want to know because we like to be able to spread the word for people and help everyone get their PSVR2 pre-ordered, so you can just stop fucking thinking about it and enjoy your holiday. It's a little bit crazy how this is going down.
Got an email from PlayStation. Did you know, Brian?
Oh no, this is
that
not
the
going to go
Callisto Protocol. Yep. The Callisto Protocol launches on December 2nd. Well, the last chance to pre-order.
I mean, December 2nd, in all fairness, Wes, is before December 6th. So if they're going chronologically, then maybe in 4 days we'll get the PSVR2 email. But yeah, it is stressful, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone, that you have to deal with this. It is frustrating and nerve-wracking. Agreed.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Wes, to the point where we don't know if it's incompetence, we don't know if it's arrogance, or if it is some kind of sales tactic. to keep everybody on their toes and get excited and just think, oh my God, if I got the email, I better fucking just pre-order. I wasn't sure. I was on the fence, but I'm just going to buy one because I got the email. And I don't know how limited these things are. Anything is possible. Wonder Rob just checked. He said, nope. Thank you.
Hand-trick promotion, Brian. They let it build up, and then when you finally get it, it's just excellent.
Is everything about sex, Wes? Because I think it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot, mostly.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, as long as we figured that out. Dead Ringer, the Game Cat, with the $2 tip says we need Gamefly Streaming Edition with VR.
We do, but that will never happen. The platform holders hate rentals. Yeah. They hate it. It robs them of so many sales, and they know it. So they would never agree to something like that. I mean, the closest thing you're going to get are these PS Plus plans, you know, the premium ones where they let you stream some of the games, but you'll never see that from a third party ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could absolutely see it from Sony, I guess, technically, right? It'd be like, okay, you can, we're only going to give you access to this digital code for the next 24 hours, which the way that games are these days, Wes, I don't think that is beneficial to them in the slightest. Like if you're a hardcore gamer and you're like, okay, once I start this game, I can only play it for the next 24 hours. You're gonna fucking beat that game. Like, so it's just, yeah, they're absolutely leaving money on the table, and there's no reason for Sony to do it. There's no reason for Sony to give the rights to anyone else to do it. It's kind of crazy. They've got us by the balls.
Physical media. Period, dude. They hate anything that takes money away from them, and that the only reason they're doing this disk drive is because people would have lost their minds if they didn't. You know, Xbox did something similar with their resale rights in the last generation, and they got skewered for it. So yeah, they don't like rentals. They can't do what they need to kill it once and for all. Not yet, anyway. Keep buying those digital consoles, people, and you'll start to see this stuff go away.
Yeah, well. And just to add to it, they have to do these physical versions, right? Because they need to keep these relationships up with Walmart and Target and everything else to be like, hey, you're going to sell these things, and then you're going to keep making money off of us because you're going to be able to sell the physical versions of these games. But yeah, like you said, eventually.
Do they?
What's that?
Do they? They haven't sold a single console through these retailers, or not many.
Well, they are now. I mean,
I guess they are online, but I've never seen one on a store shelf. And then the games, I mean, most of the games are digital sales these days. So, and again, the pre-orders exclusively through Sony so far, I think they'd very much like to say fuck you to Walmart and Amazon and anyone who takes a cut of their profit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is the transition. This is the generation where that transition happens. I could absolutely see PlayStation 6 and PSVR2 being only available through Sony Direct. And hopefully
started with E3.
Hopefully they figure their shit out between now and then.
Yeah, it started with E3, and then it's just been a gradual slippery slope since then.
Yeah. Man, I've got so many questions. The first question comes to us from Gundy over on Discord, Wes. He says, "What do you think could be announced at the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's event, in just a few days? It's still strange that there was no showcase this year. Will they put everything in there, or wait?" For Gundy, he says, "For me, the one dream would be Alex because of Keighley's strong ties to Valve." What do you think, man?
Game Awards. Did you say this last year?
Oh, jeez, yeah, right.
Well, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Just remember last year at this time we had no idea when PSVR2 was coming out. Right, we thought that we were just months away, and then here we are a year later, but we actually are months away this time. So the Game Awards makes sense this year. It would, in retrospect, it didn't make sense last year, but we didn't know that.
There's a lot of speculation with why we didn't get the PS5 showcase this year. A lot of people believe that Sony's trying to kind of stay silent because of this whole Activision Xbox thing that's going on, and that's still ongoing. So if that's the case, then I wouldn't expect to see much here. And to be quite honest, I'm pretty close to done with expecting anything out of these mainstream flat gaming showcases, because how many times have we said what makes perfect sense for them to do it here, and then they don't do it there? Now, I agree with everything everybody's saying. It makes perfect sense for them to really load up here. We know Keighley and his crew are friendly to VR and support it behind the scenes. But on these shows, they typically, they typically snub us. So I don't know. I would go into it with guarded optimism.
Yeah.
Don't expect to see anything, so that when we do, it'll be exciting and special, right?
Yeah, it seems like Sony's been very complacent this year. It seems like they've been relying on the PlayStation blog for all of their reveals, for all their news, and then saying, well, okay, well, the YouTubers of the world, the IGNs of the world, the whatever, they're going to cover this anyway. So why should we spend marketing dollars? And I would love to know how effective that's been. I'd love to know, like, if there's been any decrease in interest in Sony products. I'd love to know if there's been any. I don't know. Like, I want to see if there's some analytics out there, some metrics that would prove whether this is working or not for them. But it does seem like, in the absence of their own event, somebody else's event makes perfect sense. And I think the Game Awards is one of the last big things. It's this and CES, really, right before the PSVR2 launch. Are there any other events coming up besides those?
Not before February. We've got GDC in March, which is right on the heels of the launch, and typically they show some stuff off there. So you're right. It's this and CES, which we know that they just announced their press conference at CES. We don't know what they're going to be talking about. Typically, they talk about everything, not just PlayStation, but TVs and cameras, you name it. They're pimping all of it. But I don't know. It makes sense. The one thing that we haven't got from them yet, people can say what they want about the launch lineup. It's a great launch lineup, right? Like, for some reason, people expect more out of the launch lineup for PSVR2 than typically a console would get. Like, PS5 didn't get a launch lineup like people want for this. It kind of blows my mind. But the one thing we haven't got yet is that sizzle reel. This is what's coming later next year, the year after that. This is what's in development. We haven't got that yet. I think Game Awards would be a great place for it. I think CES would be a great place for it. We'll just have to wait and see.
I would love a sizzle reel that says, here's what's coming down the pipeline. I still need that PlayStation blog post that says, these are the launch titles, because we haven't even gotten that yet. So one step at a time, man, right? We don't know what's coming in, 12, 1, 2, like 2.5 months from now. Never mind what's coming 12 months from now. So very, very curious to see how Sony handles this. They've even said on the direct.playstation.com, they've said, we will announce all of the PlayStation VR2 launch titles. Sure. And then they link to the PlayStation blog and say, over here. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Can you just make one little video that's just that I can upload on without Parole, right? Without having to do the editing myself. Can you please just give me one video that says, hey, these are the launch titles? And the answer is very likely no. But who knows, man? Sometimes blog posts go up in conjunction with new, trailers on the PlayStation's YouTube channel. So anything's possible. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing with this type of marketing strategy.
Yeah.
It causes people to speculate. Speculation leads to wild rumors, and wild rumors spread like wildfire. So it is very effective in that sense. Just keep people in the dark. Let them come up with their own things that might be happening. Like, imagine they don't have Half-Life Alyx coming, right? It's not happening. How much publicity have we given them and their platform talking about Half-Life Alyx coming to it over the last year? Like, we keep talking about it. We don't even know it's a thing, right? Grand Theft Auto 5, we don't know that's happening.
Right.
So it's effective in that sense. Like, these are things that people talk about that, otherwise they wouldn't. And if they're not really even real, it's kind of a smart play.
It is. And again, I hope it's intentional. Darth Vader, the Game Cat in the chat with the $10 tip, says, every week that goes by, I get more and more excited. So apparently the silence is working on Vader. He says, also, Blade and Sorcery devs have PSVR 2 on their roadmap as to be defined. Blade and Sorcery. It'll sell like fucking crazy on PSVR 2. I couldn't care less personally.
The same way.
I'm like, enough with the sandbox style games. I want these things. I want those mechanics in bigger, more epic games.
Yeah, they have started to alter the structure of the game. It's not all purely sandbox anymore,
Okay.
but I still don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have levels now that you can work through. I don't know if they have a proper campaign, but it's more campaign-like than it was initially. Still don't care. More excited for Undead Citadel. More excited for even Hellsplit Arena than Blade and Sorcery.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, Undead Citadel. 4 years of waiting. That first teaser came out, and it was like, oh wow, this game looks like really polished. The environments they showed were like, wow, it looks very cool. 4 years later, just like, I mean, and really talk about no communication. Those developers have been really, really quiet, even over on their Discord. It's like the smallest bits of updates every year, maybe, and that's just part of me respects it, right? Because I think you and I both grew up in a time, Wes, where there was no communication from developers, where it's like, hey, we're going to toil away behind the scenes for years and years and years and years and years. You'll have no idea what we're working on. And then we're going to release a few screenshots and a short video to Electronic Gaming Monthly or GamePro. And then we released the game and you don't like it, fuck you, it doesn't matter. Right. And like, as somebody who's been an artist their entire life, I kind of like that mentality where it's like, just make the thing that you want to make. And like, you don't need our feedback. Give it to us exactly the way that you want it to be, and then we play it, and whether we like it or we don't like it, that's the end of it, right? And then we'll play your next game, or we won't in 4 to 6 years. I like that so much. Games are much different now. So many games come out and they evolve over time of DLC and patches and updates and whatever, and gamer feedback, right? And people love that so much, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right. I'm just old school.
It's a negative effect of the internet, man. Back in the day, a game was a physical thing that you bought, and what it was when you bought it is what it was forever. So they had to have it right before they shipped it. Nowadays, you've got 10 times as many studios making games. Half of them have to publish before the game's done, just so that they can keep developing it. And there's this constant cycle of your customer base all being beta testers for your game. And it's a negative consequence. Of course, it's positive in the sense that more people get to be game developers now, but it's negative in the sense of the consumer getting a quality product. We used to hang on those monthly gaming magazines like they were the Bible, man. I would read that stuff religiously to see what was coming up the next month. And now, I mean, that stuff don't even mean anything anymore. I guess we're kind of replacing that stuff, right?
Oof, man. Like, dude, Electronic Gaming Monthlies are still my Bible. Like, that is, I have almost every issue ever created. And like, if my bathroom reading material, anyone who's ever been to my apartment will sit down on the toilet and look in front of them to a stack of like 10 Electronic Gaming Monthlies on the floor, be like, I still read the same magazines from fucking 20 years ago. So there's still my Bible, because there's always like some retro game that like I didn't know existed, and I'm still going through it. So yeah, along with, we got to address a few of the positives, I guess, that came along with this, and I guess that's that, if a game launched on PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 and had a game-breaking bug, there sometimes the developers would let you like send the disc in and they send you a replacement disc or whatever. Like that, those instances of that happen so few and far between. Remember that happened with like Killing Time on the 3DO, totally random. But for the most part, yeah, if there was a bug in the game, that was the end of the story. That game had a bug in it until the end of time. And so I guess we're pretty fortunate that like that's not the case anymore. So there's good and bad with all of this. And I think most people are not in my corner at all. I think most people are like, no, we'd rather have influence over the game development. We'd rather have, all of this. I'm just like, no, I just give me the game. Just want to play the thing that you made for us. End of story.
Well, I'm a pretty big fan of DLC. So there definitely are positives to it. When you get a great game, then you get more of a great game. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. DLC is great. Agreed. Real quick here, we get a couple new tips, and then we'll get into our main topic, Wes. First tip comes to us from Agent Orange 210 with the $25 tip. Thank you so much. Says, with Sony releasing the full body motion tracking system Mokopi, do you think we could see them allowing it to be used on the PlayStation 5? Also, Bryan, I appreciate the consistent quality news and content you provide your viewers. He's not talking about my camera, obviously. Thank you very much, Agent Orange. So this was going to be a topic for today's show, the Mokopi full body motion tracking, but we didn't include it, and which means I didn't really research it. But it has nothing to do with PSVR, right? Or at least at this point, it has nothing to do with PSVR. So in order to answer your question, let's just say let's change it a little bit and say, Wes, how much do you think full body tracking is important when it comes to VR?
Well, that's a very different question. It depends on who you ask. My friend Brad would tell you that it's crucial to VR because he thinks that the future of VR lies in social experiences, much like Facebook and a lot of other people within the space. So I don't know. I think it could be huge, with regard to a product like this. And let me be clear, I don't know how this product works. I know what it does. I don't know how it does it.
Right.
I don't think that this specific product will work with PSVR2, but I very well could see the exact same thing with a PlayStation brand on it coming in the very near future for these types of applications like we see on PC. I think it could be huge because on PC to do what they're doing here with this, it's $100 per tracker, or at least it was. I think it's a little bit less now. You can get them for $60 or $70, but you're talking about multiple hundreds of dollars to track your entire body. If Sony could get that down $200, $150 for a whole set, I think that it could really be a popular thing, especially in the context of VR, but not exclusively to VR. Yeah, I absolutely think this could be huge. How important is it to the future? That's debatable.
Yeah. I think for at least this generation, I don't think it's going to be super important. I think we'll be looking potentially past controllers and looking at streamlined designs for the HMDs. I think things are going to rapidly evolve over the course of the next 6 years or so. And by the time PlayStation VR3 rolls around, I think we'll be looking at something much different than just your typical headset and controllers that you hold. And so I think this is what Sony's really good at. Like the R&D team at Sony is constantly looking so far ahead and investigating these things that they were running Gran Turismo on 8K display, 8K VR displays, just as a test, and so I do think that them working in this space will be important in the future, but I just don't see it becoming practical this generation, and mostly for the reason Wes said, because it's just too damn expensive right now.
I'd love to see them launch a set of these for PSVR 2, but they have a wire connecting all of them together. Oh. That would be so hilarious just to see the way people reacted to it. I would love it so much. Agreed.
God Given with the $10 tip says, love West Days.
You too.
I'm also a big fan. God Given. We got Man Bear Pig Game Cat with the $2 tip says Chernobyl Lite for PS5 would make a great PSVR2 game. I don't know Chernobyl Lite. I've seen like the thumbnail or whatever of the game, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm familiar with the title. I have a few screenshots that flash through my head when people say it, but I don't really know much about it. Must not have been terribly impressed with it when I saw it, or else I would know more about it.
Or it didn't have a PSVR2 logo, and you're like, well, who cares? Yeah. And the thing is there's so many games that would make great PSVR2 games, right? It's like I think everybody here, Wes and I included, could easily list 20 games off the top of our head. Games that we've played in the past, games that are coming out, and all just games that we want on PSVR2.
I want Jeff Minter games, bro. Like, why hasn't Polybius come to Quest yet? I mean, this is kind of like the biggest no-brainer of all time, and it never happened. So what happened to this dude? Is he just chilling on his farm? When are we getting our next game?
Hanging out with the llamas.
I guess, man.
Yeah. Seems.
I guess COVID kind of made him go quiet. It was around that time.
I feel like I unfollowed him on Twitter at a certain point. Like my whole Twitter feed just became like farm animals and shit after a while, and I was like, what is going? I was like, oh, this is the Polybius guy. Yeah, love Jeff Minter. Farm animals, not so much. Snacks, please. The Smileback Game Cat with the $2 tip says 83 days or about 120,000 minutes until full release. We need a timer on the channel. Actually, I've got that live stream set for launch day. So that's technically a timer. There's always something on the channel counting down to launch day.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. It makes it go slower when you look at it. Just focus on other things.
Is that how
it'll get here quickly?
You're using the watch pot never boils theory on the PSVR2 launch?
Well, I still punch a clock, man. I know how this works. If you look at the clock, then your 8-hour shift seems like a 12-hour shift. So just chill out, focus on other things. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners comes to Quest tomorrow. Cave Digger just got an update on PSVR. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff to do, stuff to occupy our time. Christmas is around the corner. Mm-hmm. It'll be here quickly.
It will be. There's so many distractions. Meanwhile, I put something into the microwave for 3 minutes, and I'm like, not done yet?
Yeah.
So February 22nd seems like an eternity compared to my meatloaf. So I just looked at the title of this video, Wes, and apparently we're going to be talking about why PlayStation VR 2 should be PC compatible. And I'm so happy that you're here for this conversation. I don't think I have a better co-host for a PC conversation than you. And I guess we should kick this off with the most obvious question, which is, why would we want this, right? PlayStation VR 2 is obviously designed for PlayStation 5, and there's exclusive games coming to PSVR 2 on PlayStation 5. But yet, in the comment section of Without Parole, anytime I post a PSVR 2 video, which is almost every day, there are people who comment saying I would buy this day one if it was PC VR compatible. Why, Wes? Is it why? Who out there is playing PC VR games saying, I want to use a PSVR 2 instead of whatever headset they're currently using? What would be the benefit?
Well, PC VR gamers don't have OLED. Not anymore. I mean, the Gen 1 headsets had OLED, but they've all moved to LCD displays, first of all. They don't have eye tracking. They don't have advanced haptics and adaptive triggers. And here's the most important thing, Brian. None of them have a price tag under $1,000. So, not many. One of them does, and I own that one. But to get a high-end PC headset, you're spending more than $1,000. And in terms of specs, they don't live up to PSVR 2. So that's why all those guys want this to be PC compatible. It's because they'll be getting a great headset at a great price. And I think it would be a terrible thing if this thing just had general PC support. Now, I do foresee a way that this could be PC compatible, but in a much more controlled way from Sony. And if they have their own platform, their own PlayStation games on PC that work with it, then that works. I think that works and doesn't kind of water down and destroy their platform. If they just make this thing available to use with a PC, then first of all, your player base, your PlayStation player base, they're not going to be able to get the headset because the PC guys are going to buy them all up. I think it would be a terrible idea. That's
a good point. I didn't even consider just the sheer availability of the headset at launch. So really, it seems like if this was going to be something that Sony would want to announce and something that they're willing to do, that should be something they announce post-launch, right? It's like get them out to all your PlayStation 5 owners and then break the news.
Well, I think this is kind of the way that everything's moving, not just VR gaming, but gaming in general, and especially with regard to PlayStation. I think that they're moving away from the console model because it's a dated model. Let's be honest. The technology continues to change, not only with PC, but like with cloud streaming. We're moving into a new generation that's going to bring new platforms along. So Sony is now starting to make plans to diversify, and part of that is moving into PC. I think that's a great idea. Again, though, I think they make most of their money selling software anyway.
Right.
I think opening up those games to new markets is a great idea. Again, as long as they control it themselves and and basically sell everything within their own platform, even on different devices.
Right, and that's what this conversation is about: is Sony doing it officially, not what's going to happen on day one or day two or day three from people who just know how to kind of like make things work on PC, right? Because I'd be pretty fucking shocked, Wes, if somebody bought a PSVR2 and after a little bit of work wasn't able to get it running on PCVR. Like, obviously that's going to happen, but the smart business move would be to, I think, say, well, let's circumvent that altogether and just allow it to work, and then also give you games to buy, right? Because I think we're assuming the PSVR 1, I think according to Shuhei Yoshida, was always sold at a profit. They never took a loss on the hardware. And so I think we're assuming that they're doing the same thing with PSVR 2. And so if they're making money on every single headset sold, then it would be in their best interest to sell as many as they possibly could. And then if they seem to have like a decent relationship with Epic Games and Steam, and then to be able to put their VR games on those platforms and make money off of them. There doesn't seem to be like really a downside here, does there?
Well, right now, if you want to experience super rich and the deepest, most immersive VR games available, you're going to have to come to the PlayStation platform to do it. If they open this up to the PC crowd, and you're right, maybe modders are going to be able to do it anyway, but that's not a given. This USB technology that they're using, this could be proprietary, and also, I mean, that's not to even consider. There is some processing that's taking place here in the headset, even though it's not standalone. So there could be proprietary things that's going to make it a little more difficult for people to kind of hack it into PC. But if they just go straight in and make this something that someone can plug into a PC and it works, then within a month, somebody in VR chat has made this amazing experience that is free and uses all the little bells and whistles that PSVR has. Now, all of a sudden, they're not the only place you can get that from. So, and that's not to mention all the modders and people who can mod Steam games into using it. And I mean, modders are amazing. You think they can't do it? Whatever it is you're thinking about, I assure you they can do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really, you're giving the competition a leg up needlessly. Now, if what you're saying is true and it's going to get hacked in anyway, then it does make sense to kind of head them off at the pass. But I'm not convinced that that's going to be the case, at least not for a while until they crack the code.
Yeah, I think Nihilist Ryan brings up a good point in the chat. It says, my guess is that Sony plans on making money via the software, not so much the hardware. If the headset is PCVR compatible, Sony loses all that software money. This is an interesting take, and it actually makes a lot of sense because it's not just first party software that Sony is making money off of. They're obviously taking a 30% cut on everything that's sold on the PlayStation Store. And so, we mentioned earlier, Wes, that there's 70, 80 games that we already know are in development for PSVR 2, and a good chunk of those games are also going to be on PCVR. And so Sony risks people not even buying a PlayStation 5 and just using this thing on PC, and then Steam taking that 30% cut of all of those third-party games could lose hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, over the course of the generation on each customer, if they allow this thing to run on Steam. So yeah, what initially seems like a fucking great idea, and being able to sell Call of the Mountain or whatever other first party stuff they have planned on Steam and make a lot of money on the people that are over there. Yeah, this could very easily bite them in the ass very, very quickly. I think that makes a lot of sense, Ryan. Also,
anything that...
Sorry, Ryan also sent a $5 tip like 20 minutes ago. It was like full money tracking from chat to the pizza joint. This is great. Money tracking.
Anything that connects to a computer is going to be fully functional on that computer immediately. For example, you can connect your DualSense to your PC and play Steam games on it. And from what I understand, a lot of these third-party games, like your Call of Duties and what have you, they use the full functionality of the DualSense with the adaptive triggers, all the haptics, all the bells and whistles work through Steam. which is kind of mind blowing and eye opening in the context of the conversation that we're having.
Yeah. I will say selfishly, because you and I get to sit here and just talk about games. We don't have to be so concerned about the business aspect. Unfortunately, that is Sony's cross to bear. Selfishly, I hope that it does become PC compatible, because I really do think we need to push the entire industry forward kind of simultaneously. And for PC VR gamers to also be working with adaptive triggers and haptics in the headset, and just everything else that's going to come along for the ride. Not to mention all the slew of AAA games that we're going to get along with this. It would just be great for VR to kind of be taken seriously for the first time in a long time, because I don't think it has been. I think a lot of people still look at Quest games or PSVR1 games and go, oh yeah, these are just gimmicks or experiences or whatever else, right? And they're not looking at like the full picture that has a lot more going on. It's kind of easy to downplay what's happening in the VR space. And I think if we push the entire industry forward together with PSVR2, then I think almost immediately you'd have to take it a little bit more seriously, and I think it would get a little bit more coverage from mainstream gaming press and whatnot.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. There's certainly something to be gained from everyone across the industry being on the same page and working together to further the industry and become more mainstream. There's also something to be said for exclusivity and competition. The best games we've ever seen, most of them are exclusive, right? So, I mean, if we're all just sharing and having one big platform together, are we going to get our Horizon games anymore? I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
That's a good question.
I mean, why spend $100 million, or I mean, not that much, obviously. Why spend $10 million or $20 million making a game if it's not to draw people into your ecosystem? Right.
Yeah. Which is why everything kind of made sense the way that Sony's done things recently, selling Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn, and what else? Like the first God of War game, I believe, right? Those are all available on Steam, but they also came to Steam years later. They probably got as much as they were going to get on the PlayStation Store from those people. Like, you're going to rope as many people in with each of those games as possible, get them to buy a PlayStation 4, get them to buy a PlayStation 5. If you hold on to that exclusivity for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I think it was for Zero Dawn, then it's okay to kind of release it after that. But then PSVR 2 is brand new, right? You can't have Call of Duty, you can't have Call of the Mountain day and date on Steam alongside PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2, which kind of sucks, because like Wild Hour, the game cat with the Australian $5 tip, says PC compatibility would be perfect for the disabled community for more access with modders. Please, Sony, please. Thank you, Wild Hour. I wonder exactly what the extent of the modding for the disabled community entails. I feel like the perfect solution for that, and maybe you were just about to say this before I kept you from talking, Wes, but just make every game also compatible with the DualSense.
That's true. I think we're starting to see more consideration to be given to disabled gamers, but a lot of that stuff, most of it, honestly, comes from the game developers themselves, not through modding. I think we're starting to see a lot more one-handed modes in VR games and things of this nature. A correction for color blindness, these sorts of things. We're starting to see a lot more of it. So I don't know. I guess that there's certainly a little bit more possibility with regards to modding in that respect. But I think that this is something that's, the overall awareness is becoming better with time. And I think that this generation will be a lot more kind to disabled gamers than the last one was.
I think so too. And I think that's such a difficult conversation to have when it comes to VR, because so much VR involves standing and swinging your arms and reaching up and climbing and then reaching down and picking things up and crouching behind a rock and shooting, blindly. By nature, VR tends to be a very active thing. And so asking a developer to say, hey, what about all the people out there who simply can't play your game? hopefully they're in touch with the community enough to understand like there needs to be options, and I really do think that a DualSense option for everything would be great. There's people who need the most immersion possible. They want their two hands in the world. They want to crouch physically. They want to turn physically. They want to do all of that. But there's plenty of people who can't. And dude, even with no disability at all, outside of my mental problems, there's I started the PSVR 1 generation as the guy who just wanted to sit on a couch with his DualShock 4 and play Resident Evil 7. I didn't care about hands in the game. I didn't want to stand while I played. I kept saying over and over on Without Parole, I'm still a gamer. I like sitting on a couch and playing video games. And that slowly changed over the course of the whole generation. I wanted that immersion. But there's people who didn't change. And there's people who simply couldn't do the things that I want to do. And I really, really do hope that VR becomes more accessible to everybody. And that's not just disabled people. That's also motion sick. People who suffer from motion sickness. And hopefully, the headset haptics will help alleviate that a bit. So it's going to be an interesting generation, I think.
We're about to crack that code with the sickness. There's a lot of different factors that play into it, and we're seeing advancement on every level of that. So hopefully that's going to be a thing of the past very soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Although we haven't quite cured car sickness yet, so I don't know.
Do that.
A little bit, I guess, right? There's pills for it. And
right.
Yeah. And really, I think
my VR pills.
VR pills. Yes. Oh, man. Yep. Secondary market's going to have a blast with that. Let's make some VR pills.
Never met a pill I didn't like, Brian. I take that back. There were a couple. Not many, though. Not many.
Yeah. Big fan of downers. The uppers can fuck themselves.
We won't talk about this. We'll save that for a litter box.
Ooh, dude, that's going to be the longest litter box episode of all time.
Oh, for sure.
So, Wes, we were kind of all over the place on this conversation. I think there's a lot of reasons why PSVR 2 should be PC compatible, but I also think that, from a business standpoint, from all the things that we discussed, the things that Ryan brought up, things that you brought up, it seems unlikely that Sony would allow this, at least right now. Maybe if they take the PC route that they've been taking, a few years down the line, and they start releasing, eventually they've got to have a PlayStation store, right? Eventually they've got to have a PC PlayStation store, and that would alleviate a lot of these problems, right? Because then they could sell Red Matter and fucking Rush of Blood. They could sell all of these, all these games on the PC store, and not run the risk of losing all this income to the PC crowd. But maybe that'll be a few years down the line. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I like that model. I like get your 2 years, 3 years of exclusivity, and then when the game's done selling, then move it on to other platforms. And it wouldn't necessarily need to be on a PlayStation store. Obviously, there would be a PlayStation store, but they could do stuff like EA does, or like Ubisoft with Uplay, where you sell your games through Epic, you sell your games through Steam, but you have to sign in on the back end and validate. Grand Theft Auto is the same way. You have to sign into the Rockstar launcher, even though you bought the game on Steam, so that they can validate your copy. I could see them doing something like that, where they kind of have a back end client. They also have their own store. You can get it from them directly if you want to, but also, they have partnerships with Steam. They have partnerships with Epic Games, replacing their destroyed relationships with Amazon and Walmart from last generation.
Yeah, certainly not an easy answer when it comes down to it. And I think a lot of people out there think that it is an easy answer. And so hopefully this discussion brought to light a few other aspects today that people, when it gets released and it's not PCVR compatible, people will understand a little bit better why. But anything's possible. Sony seems to be evolving.
Paradise K is an interesting thought. He says you have the potential for Steam users trying the headset on PC, and then Sony holds back console exclusive, so that they give you a taste on PC, but if you want the full experience, you got to get a PlayStation. You got to come over to our ecosystem.
Yeah,
that's another approach, and it's interesting for sure.
That's the Trojan horse approach, Wes. The more PlayStation branded stuff you have in your house, the closer you are to buying the console. So
True.
I don't know. It's also sorry, more sirens on my end. I think the thing that Miles and I keep going on and on and on about every single week is that we need a Plus collection for PSVR2. We need all these classic PSVR1 games remastered, and just be like, if you have Plus, then here you go. Here's 15 PSVR1 games remastered for PSVR2, and they're just now, you just own those now. And so for people who weren't even considering getting a PSVR2, now have 15 PSVR2 games in their library. Like, that's the Trojan horse effect. That is, hey, we gave you a bunch of shit for free that you really can't use unless you buy our headset. But if I had 15 games ready to go, I think I'd be considering a PSVR 2 much more than if I didn't. So,
yeah, that's for sure.
Zombie. I knew somebody was going to say it. Zombie said it. He said, I prefer the Trojan condoms approach. Speak for yourself, my friend.
I don't.
Yep.
No, at all.
And on topic, Jay in the chat says, my girlfriend and I just broke up. It sucks, but I can't stop from thinking about all the extra PSVR 2 games I'll be able to afford. Is that wrong? No, Jay, that's not wrong. That's called looking at the bright side of life. Sorry about your breakup.
I'm sorry and congratulations.
Congratulations on your PSVR 2 library. Snacks, please. The Smiles Back Game Cat asks, was SuperKit actually canceled, or was that Polish Paul fake news? I don't know if we covered this on the channel or not. SuperKit is the follow-up to the Top. I don't know if you guys know, but Dan, who was running Electric Hat Games, he was building SuperKit to the Top all by himself, and then got hired at Skydance. So he's working on the next Skydance game. So you're not, when you usually when you get hired by a big studio, there's some clause in your contract that says there's a no compete agreement, right? Where you promise not to make your own game while working on their game. So I don't know if it's been officially canceled, but SuperKit is definitely on the back burner for now. So we'll keep you updated as that goes on.
That is behemoth news, Brian, and it's awesome and sucks all at the same time. I don't know how I feel about that. Behemoth. I love Skydance. Yeah, it is behemoth news.
Yeah. Here we can at least play the trailer while this is going on. So, all right, man. Well, you know what that brings us to everybody's favorite part of the hour, or the 90 minutes, which is PSVR 20 questions, and I am the host this time around, which means I've got a PlayStation VR game in my head, and you guys out there and Wes only have 20 yes or no questions in only 6 minutes to figure out what game it is. Please help them out. This is never easy. It's actually way harder than it looks.
Brian was talking shit before the show too, so you guys, I'm really counting on you to come through for me.
Oh, I was talking shit. That's right. I was like, you're never going to get this, and that's just psyching him out is all I'm doing. Here, let me make sure I have the game up and ready so that I can answer all of your questions. And it is. Let's put that clock up on the counter the way that Jeremy likes it. Are you ready, Wes?
I am ready, Brian. Let's do it.
On your mark, get Des, go.
Does this game use thumbsticks, Brian?
No, it does not.
No, it does not. Okay, excellent. Does this game have full locomotion?
I wouldn't call it that. No.
I see.
What's your definition of full locomotion? Yes, it is.
Is this game on rails?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So we're on rails. Good call. Big fat frog.
Damn it. Frog. Blowing up my spot over here. What's going on? Do you already know the game?
So, well, I mean, the last time we were in this situation, I could have had it in 3, remember?
It's true.
And I second guessed myself and added 2 more questions on. Is this game, I'm going to do the same thing today.
Yeah.
Is this game developed by Supermassive Games?
It's not developed by Supermassive Games.
Oh, so there we go. All right, so let's get back into the right frame of mind here and get away from that. Does this game have a physical edition that was not put out by Limited Run Games.
This game does not have a physical edition, limited run
So it's,
or otherwise. That's 5.
Is it a PlayStation VR exclusive?
It is not. It is a PlayStation VR exclusive. I changed my mind. It is a PlayStation VR exclusive.
It is an exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a shooter?
Yeah, it's a shooter.
Yeah, so we got an exclusive rail shooter to PlayStation VR. Is it good?
Below average.
Below average. Who said that? Looper Blood and Truth is node-based teleport. It's not on rail. So let's think. What is on a rail? That is a shooter. So I know what this is. Look, I got Bryan with Roller Coaster Legends the other day, so he's turning the tables on me with another obscure rail game.
Try to read my face. Go ahead. Try. Do I have any tells? You can't tell, can you? Okay.
I cannot. So let's see. What the hell's on rails, people? Hook me up. Riz kind of is. Well, he said it was exclusive to PlayStation VR, though, so can't be Rez. Can't be Pistol Whip. Drone Striker.
Look at AJ just fucking Googling shit for you.
Thank you.
You see,
Was Dex the PSVR exclusive?
AJ's not
I
even
don't think
here.
Mars 2 definitely was.
AJ's not even here, and he's AJing the fuck out of this game. God damn it.
Well, here's the thing. 3 out of those 4 games aren't even PSVR exclusives. So does the game have drones in it, Bryan?
Yes. Yeah.
Does it have drone in the title?
No, that's 10.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's drones, but... Oh, I know what this is. Did this game come out in the last year?
Sure did, Wes. Sure did.
Is this game Transformers? Whatever the rest of it's called? Transformers, blah, blah, blah,
Transformers Beyond Reality by Metaphor Interactive. It
go.
Absolutely is. Congratulations. Did anybody in the chat guess it?
I didn't see it, no. Maybe they did, but I didn't see it.
I wasn't keeping a close eye on the chat, but I did not see it. So congratulations,
I don't
man.
see it either. Thank you. Thank you. We did it.
It is. All right, man. All right, I got a bunch of stuff to do tonight. I don't know if you're aware, because I don't know why you'd care, but there's only 3 days left in the Fortnite season, and so if I want the skins. Also,
oh God.
Apologies to
You
everyone.
sound like
yeah.
you sound like an after the fall gamer. Well, I want to get those skins. Yeah, okay. Have fun with that.
Yeah, but this is fun. For anyone who sent me an epic friend request through Fortnite, I apologize. I didn't realize where they were until today, and there was like 100 of you. So I'm like, I just accepted everyone's friend request on Fortnite, which was, in retrospect, probably a really bad idea, because I play enough Fortnite. I don't need to play more Fortnite, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing Fortnite with some of you cats out there. So, Wes, what's your stream tonight? Remind me.
We're doing The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution First Impressions on Oculus Quest. We are doing Half-Life Alyx Levitation. We've also got stuff coming up in the interim for Forever Pool, Lo-Fi, and next week we're doing Hubris.
Dude, it's action-packed week you got over there. Lots of exciting stuff. I can't wait to play all this stuff on PSVR2. Sorry about having to play Chapter 2 on Quest. I said it quietly so no one would hear me. Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €5 says, the winning streak continues. 12 so far, the record being 16. Ooh. See, this is cool. If you guys don't know, Looper's been keeping track of every game of 20 questions. I didn't realize, dude, 12, the winning streak. 12. We can't break this, man. We can't break this. It's good. Keep it up.
12.
I don't know.
Like, is that me or is that all of us? Because I seem to remember getting you recently. Pretty sure I did.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. What? Have I really gotten 12? That don't seem right either. Like, have I done 12 in a row?
Wes, I've learned over the years to just not ask questions. Just smile and go, that's awesome. I'm so excited that we have 12 winning. 12. Yeah. Wonder Rob in the chat says, Bryan, Fortnite, what are you, 12? Yeah, pretty much. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out today. Make sure you subscribe to Wes Dillon and his friends over at Virtual Strangers by clicking that link in the description below. There's never enough VR content, man, and especially never enough non-PSVR content. So go check it out over on Virtual Strangers. Thank you, everybody who hung out today. Thank you, everybody who supports us on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. Thank you to everybody who donated during today's show. You guys are keeping the lights on and extra bright today. I tried to reward you guys with extra bright lights for supporting the channel. And thank you to everybody who helped Wes on 20 questions, along with all of you.
Maybe I could start wearing sunglasses, Brian. I've got my lights all the way up now. Like, we could wear sunglasses indoors like we're cool guys.
I hate to break this to you. Those aren't cool guys. Those generally douchebags. And thank you to everybody who sat back and watched the show, didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. Let's get out of here, Wes.
Let's do it.
Oh, Snacks M, please. The Smileback Gamecat says that he's 5 minutes behind. So listen, nobody tell him what the 20 questions game was. Is that how that works? Would we spoil it for him if we typed it in the chat? Don't type in the chat. We don't want to spoil it.
We should have like a court stenographer spoiling everything in the chat constantly for the people who show up late. Just like a professional spoiler, always on duty.
That's what we need. We need more people doing stuff on these shows.
Yeah, we don't have enough already.
Fucking craziness. All right, it's Fortnite time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.